Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the month of July. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link down there that will help you find your birth chart, and then you can come back and watch the videos for your Moon and Ascendant signs. It'll give you a better idea of what's going on with you overall than you might get from just your Sun sign, which is why readers suggest that you should do it. So, what do I have to tell you? I had things to tell you, I can't remember. Oh, thank you to those glorious souls who have come over to Patreon to support me over there. I love you to the moon and back. You are wonderful, wonderful human beings, and you have no idea how much I appreciate the vote of confidence that you have displayed in me by going over there and doing that. Thank you so much. What else? 7th of July marks a full year since I started on YouTube. I can barely believe it, but there we are. And I want to celebrate in some way. I'm not going to do it on the 7th because that's a Tuesday and it seems like a rather cack day to have a live stream. So, live stream I shall have, but on the 5th of July instead. So, if you want to come and join me over there, that would be awesome. I would love it. As many of you as want to turn up. Shit, I'm just flinging cards everywhere. Would be great. I will do some card readings. I'm going to limit it to like one question, one card. So if that's something that you're interested in, do come over and have a look. But I'm going to probably do a competition to win some things and stuff as well. Like sort of have a little bit of a party because, you know, it seems like something worth celebrating. So sorry that the light's really washed out. It goes between like thunder and blistering sunshine, so it'll fade again in a sec. Anyway, that is all the things I wanted to say, so let's have a look and get 3 cards for Aquarius, please. First card is Strength. It's interesting. Card of Leo in the Major Arcana, numbered 8. Let's have a look at your present energy. Present energy for Aquarius, please. Ooh. Another Major Arcana card, we've got the Hermit, which is the card of Virgo. It's card number 9, consecutive cards. And what is coming towards Aquarius, please? If it's the Wheel of Fortune, I'm just going to snigger. What's coming towards Aquarius in July? Oh, fuck. It's not me anything if I can't shuffle the cards properly. What's coming towards Aquarius? We've got the Lovers. Interesting. So, not the Wheel of Fortune, but still Major Arcana, which means that you are in a very important shift. I feel like a shift is what I want to say at the moment. We've got the 3 of Cups at the bottom of the deck, and that talks about emotional support networks sometimes. And that's something, vaguely recall. That was something that you were kind of putting feelers out, or maybe that's the shadow reading I'm recalling, I can't remember. Anyhow, yes, it talks about emotional support networks to me. It talks about the value of emotional connections and, you know, how people can buoy us up without us even, you know, necessarily even realising sometimes that that's a thing that they're doing. But anyway, 3 Major Arcana, 3 for 3 on the table, resulting in some big stuff. Let's get some clarifiers and then we'll get on with the reading. Tell me about Strength. Why is Strength here for Aquarius, please? Wow. Okay. We've got the 6 of Swords and we've got the 3 of Pentacles. I like that. I do. Tell me about the Hermit, please. Where's the Hermit here? 2 tumbled out together there. We've got the Knight of Wands and the Sun. Yeah. That's 2 Leo cards from 2 different decks. Interesting. And tell me about the Lovers. Where's the Lovers here for Aquarius, please? We have got the 10 of... You can't see that, can you? 10 of Wands. Actually, just give it a second. There we go. It's because the sun keeps coming out. It's kind of fucking everything up. Right. And the Lovers, please. King of Swords, and that is you, Aquarius. I'm going to pull some extra cards for that because I want more details. There is going to be an extended at the end of this reading, so if this starts to resonate with you, you can go over there and we'll definitely be kind of plunging into the depths a little bit more. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Nine of Cups, and I like this because not only is it... Lovers is underneath there as well. Interesting. Not only is it an emotional card, and I like that for you, Aquarius, because sometimes you get accused of being a little bit cold and a little bit, looking too far in the future with things. So I like it. But also it's, for me, the nines are the cards of the individual. So when we have the Nine of Cups, just as with the Nine of Pentacles, you have independence and self-sufficiency and that sort of thing. With the Nine of Cups, we then have a state of owning one's own emotional state, right? It's sometimes called the wish fulfillment card, which is interesting because the Star card, which is also an Aquarius card, is also sometimes called the wish card. But for me, it's about getting really, really clear about what it is that you want, what makes you happy, and focusing on those things, not creating a huge list of things that you don't like, that you don't want in your life. I read a quote, it was by Colb Barrett on Instagram. He's like, sloth astrology, sloth, oh, fuck's sake, I can't speak, it's the retrograde, sloth astrology. There you go, something like that. And it was, fear and worrying are praying for things that you don't want to happen. And there's an element of truth in that, right? So you're absolutely not doing that. You're very much concentrating on what you want. But it is all very much to do with how you can action this for yourself. It's not relying on someone to bring it to you. And that's really, really important. It's a very mature perspective. So... First card that we've got is Strength. Like I said, it's card number 8. It's Leo. And it talks about, as you would imagine, it talks about being strong, but not in a kind of, wrestling lion sort of way. It talks about that core inner strength that comes from dealing with difficult circumstances and somehow limping out the other side, still, alive, still breathing. Right? There's a lot of soul growth that goes on with that, and actually that is something that I associate this card with a great deal. As we overcome challenges and obstacles, so our soul grows and becomes wiser and more mature and more integrated, I guess, than it was before. Now, it would be nice if we didn't have to learn painful lessons in order to make that happen, but unfortunately the case is it's just the way it works, right? So this Strength card here, it could be that you've been demonstrating a lot of strength with something that you've been going through recently, or you've just simply been accumulating more of it as you've been coming out the other side of something that's been quite difficult. Now, the reason that I say that I think that you're coming out the other side of something, well, actually, to be fair, that just came out of my mouth, and then I looked down and I saw this card, so I'm like, okay. We've got the Six of Swords, and this is a card of movement. This is moving away from difficult circumstances, right? Following on from the Five, as it does, and the Fives are the agents of chaos. They're where they kind of blow up all of our best laid plans, throw spanners in the works and all that sort of thing. This is moving away from that energy, right? In order that by the 7 you can regroup, integrate the lessons that you've learned and kind of move on, right? But this is a definite period of transition away from something that has been very difficult. Now, with it being swords, it can be, words exchanged with people. So it could be, difficult circumstances in relation to other people, to some degree, or it can be about changing that way that you think about things, and that's a very powerful thing to do. And as I say it feels to me the most likely thing here that is relevant for you, right? This is where your growth has come from, because you kind of pulled away from things that were difficult because you are practicing discernment, learning lessons, and going, actually, I don't need to engage with the drama of this, and change the way that you think about a certain thing. Now, the next card that you've got is, and what you are in fact sailing towards, is the Three of Pentacles. Now, the key words for this card are like cooperation, collaboration, teamwork, all that kind of thing, right? But it's about building something with people that's going to last the test of time. Now, I called your last reading Architects of a New Paradigm. because that's very much the message that came through for me there was very clear, and it seemed to be what it was talking about. In order to build something, you have to have an architect design it first. And in fact, you know, this chap here in this curious spotted hooded gown does appear to be holding blueprints there, right? This dude here. And the thing is getting built, right? So it seems like you've moved away from something that was difficult, probably situations where somebody didn't share your vision on a thing, or they didn't share your viewpoint, they didn't share your method of working. And rather than trying to beat them over the head with it, you've kind of moved away from that. Or maybe the thing that's happened is that you've found that middle ground now, right, between your vision and whatever it is that they bring to the table. You know, maybe you actually convinced them, maybe you were quite persuasive. That's possible too. But whatever it is, what you were working on, whether that be a physical thing or whether that be, you know, a fucking societal thing, a raising of consciousness thing, it is now underway. It is happening, right? You've got to take it as it resonates to you, always, because this is general reading. But this is very positive. So, the next card that you've got for your current energy is the Hermit. And this is the card of Virgo. It's number 9 in the Major Arcana. And it talks about, well, when we see this, we say, all the answers to any question you could ever have reside inside you, right? It's about not looking out of yourself for answers to things, whether they are to do with you or to not do with you, right? Everything is in here. There's a certain amount of higher wisdom, which you can access if you know how to. And with the Hermit, it talks about being still in order that this higher wisdom can kind of percolate through and let you talk to it, right? Open up a dialogue. It can involve withdrawing somewhat from other people in the 3D. That's totally a thing. But I think we all know what it's like to be able to be sat in a crowd of people and still be kind of lost in your own world, thinking about something, you know, kind of feeling your way around something. I went to Download Festival last year, 80-ish thousand people there. And I was sat by myself. At the main stage, right at the front. I think I was waiting for Slipknot to come on. And there'd been another band on beforehand. I can't remember who it was. It was Lamb of God or Trivium or something like that. It was a really, really good band. And I had like 2 hours to wait until Slipknot came on, and I was a bit like, because I didn't want to go and have a look at the other stage, right? Because I would lose my space. So I sat down here at the barrier and just kind of chilled. And I forced myself to be present and just to take it all in, rather than kind of wishing the time away. I sat there and I made myself look at all the people that were walking by, look at how the light was beginning to fade, looking at the dog with the red eyes up on the hill, you know, looking at the Ferris wheel, it's starting to light up, and people screaming and laughing and all that kind of thing. The smell of the food, all that. I cultivated a stillness in me so that the time passed, but actually it passed beautifully because I was thoroughly immersed in what was going on. Now that was all external to me. I don't need to force myself to go within, frankly, naturally. But some people do. And maybe, Aquarius, that is something that is, whereas you can just naturally look to the horizon and see what's coming, you know, always be visionary out. Maybe turning that attention in is something that is a little more difficult for you, you know. Interestingly, Leo is the exact opposite of Aquarius on the zodiac, so it makes sense that it would be a flipped kind of reaction to these things. But interestingly enough, what we've got underneath here is the Knight of Wands and the Sun. Now, these cards are both cards that talk about being present, right? Now, the Knight of Wands, I beg your pardon, has a bit of a bad rap for being a fuckboy, let's face it. Like, you know, if you're doing a relationship reading and that card comes up, oh my God, run for the hills. But the flip side, and there is always a flip side with these, of that energy, is that this is somebody who lives in the moment. He's entirely present right here, right now. So if there's something fun going on, here he is, right? The second it gets a little bit, dull, I guess, or there's planning involved or something like that, like he's off, right? He's not about that. It's about the excitement of the thing. He's not a particularly meticulous character, but he does know how to exist in the moment. And the whole one suit is about existing in the moment. And here it is. And then we have the Sun, which is the card of Leo, right? But I also see it as consciousness, Just as the moon represents the unconscious, so I find the Sun represents the actual conscious. And for me, it's often a conscious going within and finding that inner child, right? Because a lot of us carry around wounds from our childhood that we were too young to even articulate were occurring to us at that time, right? And part of the work that we do as adults, as we become more enlightened and we seek to find meaning in the world, we do it by going within. Really, if we're doing the work properly, we do it by going within and reconnecting with that child, right? The one that was lost somewhere in the midst of time, right? Because quite often that child can give us insights into the world that we might never have come across before, right? So here we have two cards of being entirely present, entirely conscious, right? Aware, potentially a little bit vulnerable, but not really, but certainly in dialogue with some aspect of ourselves that we don't usually talk to. And this is in your current energy here. It's quite circumspect in some ways, but it's also quite exciting. It's almost like you've made revelations about yourself in the last couple of weeks, Aquarius, that they haven't exactly stunned you, but they've presented in such a way that you are able now to release them in a way that you weren't before, right? So somewhat liberating, I guess. Because the Knight of Wands is very much concerned with freedom. And is there any greater freedom than, being a small child butt naked on the back of a horse, just having a good time in the sunshine? I mean, I don't know, like that feels pretty good to me. I really feel like you're starting to work out what's important to you, Aquarius. And it's like you're finding a level of positivity in your life that you it's not like you were aware that you didn't have it. It's not like you felt sad or anything like that. It's like discovering a new layer to something that you had no idea existed and therefore could not miss, that is now making your life more vivid than it might have been before. I hope that makes sense to somebody. Now, what we've got coming towards you in July is the Lovers. Now, I see this card as a choice. I've always seen this card as a choice. I very rarely see it as a romantic or sexual engagement of any description, right? And I love the symmetry of it, actually. For me, more than just a choice now, seeing it as conscious co-creation, right? It's working together with the universe, source, whatever it is that you want to say. But certainly, like, harnessing some sort of power, right, through your own alignment to manifest what it is that you want, right? Really fucking getting on board with the universe on this one. It's a card of Gemini, and I love the fact that we've got the Sun and the Moon on this card. I was literally just talking about the Sun and the Moon, the consciousness and the unconscious. And in the middle, we've got a snake. Okay? There are two crows with their heads against each other, yes, but the snake, it signifies ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge to me. So, that's coming up is a choice. But it's not going to feel like a choice. This is the interesting thing. This is the sense that I have. It doesn't feel like a choice at all. Certainly not a choice that you would be presented with and understand that this will change your life in a major way. It's not that kind of choice. It's a seemingly innocuous choice that isn't really a choice, that will have repercussions much further down the way. The two cards that came out to clarify were Ten of Wands and the King of Swords. Now, the Ten of Wands is a card of burden, right? It's a card of things being too hard. But more often than not, I look at this card and I say, well, why the fuck has he got 10 wands? Like, did he really need 10 wands? Clearly, he's picked them up because he thought, you know, the effort that he would expend getting them home would be outweighed by the benefits of actually having them at his home, right? Somewhere along the line, those scales flipped and it's no longer that way around. So, did he need 10 swords? Is he doing it the right way? Like, would it not have been more sensible to put something down, you know, put half of them down, take half of them home, get somebody to come and help bring the rest back? You know, it's something like that. It's about kind of being a bit more imaginative about the way that you approach a problem than you are being. Now, because it's a 10, it's the end of a cycle. Like, it's kind of getting to a point where it's time to let it go. It's time to put the ones down and do something else, whether it's shifting the way that you're actually doing it or just walking away from those ones altogether, right? And just because they're problematic now. And then we've got this King of Swords, which is you, right? Now, the King of Swords, I feel like he would be an exceptional problem solver. And it's interesting that he should come up alongside something that is obviously an issue. It is obviously a problem. It's something that you are working on. And it's quite likely that the choice, such as it is whether to continue with something that is burdensome, that is not actually necessarily going to provide you with the level of benefit that you thought it would when you took this thing on. Whether you continue with that, whether you just put the ones down, walk off, do something else, or whether you see around this problem more creatively now, like using your intellect, using that vision that you've got, your logic, your reason, all of these things, to come up with a new way of approaching this problem, right? And I do feel like it is a problem rather than, you know, just a straight life choice. The interesting thing is, it does feel like it's really, really important, but it's not going to show up as something quite as significant as it will later turn out to be, which is very, very interesting. So I'm going to go and do the extended now over on Vimeo. So if this has resonated with you, please, by all means, do come join me over there. If not, then know that you're on the right path, at least. And yeah, I will see you in a couple of weeks for the mid-months for July. Oh, Jesus, can you even believe it? It's ridiculous. Right. And don't forget about the live stream. If you would like to come and join me over there, I would be delighted to see you on the 5th of July. So take care. Love you all.